I'm sure you've played people where you'll burn EX and you don't care, right? It doesn't really affect the game that much. Against a player like me, right? When you throw that, I love that. Like, that is everything to me. If I get you to throw EX and I just block it,
I've wasted part of my meter.
Yeah. It doesn't seem that big, right? It's I'm not hitting you or anything, right? It's not like the end of the world or anything, right? But it means a lot to me. I just won like big right there. I consider that a big win. Drive bar is more important than health in this game. I'm not kidding. The thing is, this game is like pretty crazy, right? Like, I think that your plan is a really good population strat. If we look at a normal distribution of players, your plan works flawlessly against like 80% of players, right? But to beat even better players than like 1500, 1600, 1700, you need like... What's up guys, I'm Trunks and I'm a high level master player in Street Fighter 6. In today's coaching video, I'm going to be giving you guys a bunch of practical tips and tricks so that you guys can win the drive battle war, which is probably the most important thing that you need to do in order to increase your win rate in the game. If that sounds like something you struggle with, make sure to stick around to the end. And as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe because a lot of you guys who watch my videos actually aren't subscribed. So consider doing that because it helps the channel grow and we can help everybody reach their fighting game goals. Also, a lot of you guys are curious about what controller I use in all my videos, and it's actually my own controller that I made. It's my own small business, so if you're interested in that, there'll be a link in the description to my website. Appreciate you guys all so much for the support, and I'll catch you guys in the video. Yo, what's up, man?
Yo, how's it going?
Yeah, you've seen my videos, so I think you kind of know how it goes. I usually either like to play games with people or watch some replays, or both.
Yeah.
So, whichever one you want to do first, we can do that, and then... you know, I'll just give you whatever advice comes to mind. If you have any questions, just feel free to...
I've got my notebook. So what I was going to show you now is actually, I'm just going to send you a picture of like how I do my notes.
Yeah, perfect. And yeah, I see the picture of your notes now. Oh, these are some great organized notes. These are for Guile. Is the left and the right for Guile, or is what the left for something?
Yeah, this is so I have multi-pages and I have other books. Like for Tekken, I do a different style, and but this is generally how I break down my notes for each character.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like this approach a lot. Personally, like I think that note taking is really, really important, especially for like, you know, improving and stuff. But yeah, this is really cool. Yeah, and I'll try to give you like I usually try to write some notes for like the people I coach, so I'll kind of give you some notes as well. I don't know if you want to direct them, but yeah, this is sweet. I like this a lot.
Before we get started, one of the questions I had, and after our conversation had me thinking on this, is I kind of think I realized what has been useful for me. And maybe getting back into ranked is the thing. So I ended up, after the reset, pop back on 1-0, person left. Next round, person immediately rage quitted against Guile. And I was like, oh, this is why I stopped doing the MR thing. I want longer sets where I feel like I'm learning, and the volatility of like a 1-0 or an 0-1 or people trying to leave that way. And then what it has been useful is when I have made friends on here that we've actually gotten to play longer sets together, like that's where I'm getting the most of my learning. But I think I've met them through ranked. So, you know, I've messaged people afterwards to be like, hey, this is really cool. Would you mind playing some longer sets? And, you know, made friends on here that they'll text and be like, hey, you want to get some sets in? And that's where I feel like I actually learn the most. So like the nasty tricks that work in first to one or first to two, I don't think are the standing, like the fundamentals that are actually going to be better. And I've realized that the more I was playing ranked, the more I was trying to be gimmicky instead of playing solidly.
I think that your approach is spot on. I do think that you should be doing more custom rooms with people in long sets. I think that is the most important. If you want the most efficient practice, that it should be the bulk of your approach to training, right? But I will also say you need to be able to beat somebody in a first to two in ranked. What I will say is like the long sets are good because you get to learn about the matchup, you get to try different things. It teaches you a lot, right? You get to experiment, you get to adapt on the fly, there's more time. But what it doesn't do, I will say, is the one thing it doesn't do, is it doesn't train you to adapt super fast. And I think in a game like this, especially with the current format, 9 out of 10 times is first to two, unless you make it to like top 8 or something where they do first to 3. And people play crazy in tournament, just as crazy as they play in ranked. And you have to be able to like test people and adapt quickly in a first to two. So while I will say that your approach is correct, and I think that that should be the bulk of your practice, I think that you also need to do a certain amount of practice where you're playing ranked and just like playing as crazy people, and like you have to figure out how to beat them fast, you know? because it's such a fast set.
That's a really good point.
I think if your goal is to be really good at the game and understand the game at a high level and teach people, you don't need to be really good at like a first to two like random tournament set and adapting like at light speed, right? That is not important if you're not interested in like competing in tournaments and stuff. So it depends on what your goal is, you know, like if you're not interested in competing and you're actually only interested in coaching your students and being the best coach possible, I don't think you need to play ranked at all, personally. But if you do want to, you know, understand and beat people in really fast sets, like a tournament set, then you will probably need to play some ranked, if that makes sense. Let's play first then, and then we'll just get into it. You want to go into the training mode? We can talk about some stuff.
Yeah.
I think your fundamentals are really good, first of all. I think there's just like a couple things that I think would improve your game the most. Before I get into that, do you have any like questions about stuff you want to talk about?
I will take the throw almost every time, but if a backdash is the best plan, because it's too risky to EX flash generally, I think.
Yeah, so let me try to explain kind of what I was thinking on attack. I was using this button a lot, right? On the on block, it's +1, right? In the corner, right? Whenever I got you in the corner, let's say I earned an Oki situation. I do this as a baseline strategy a lot. So I'm meeting with stand medium punch, which is +1. You said you were maybe trying to backdash on wake up sometimes. Is that true?
I usually just block, and then if I think a throw is coming, but that's just my general thing is just keep blocking.
Okay, yeah, so I actually think that is a great strategy. I do think that your strategy is good, but I think it will lose to very high level players, because I used to always be like, okay, I'm gonna throw, I'm gonna shimmy, or I'm gonna throw, or I'm gonna shimmy, right? That's what people mainly think, right?
Yeah.
And your options work really good against that type of player, right? Somebody who's throwing or shimmying, like, you're gonna escape a lot because they shimmy, you did nothing, so you can like kind of take your turn back, right? Since you want to block or backdash, which is great because you're blocking to just take the throw or beat the shimmy, and you're backdashing to hard beat the throw. Yeah, but what happens if a player does this? This is gonna hit your backdash if you backdash, right? And it's also gonna let me continue pressure because I'm +1. So both your options lose to me simply doing this. You see what I'm saying? But I think you were smart enough to realize that, because in the set you started reversaling, which was really smart, because I don't know if you like just thought of this or was like based off of feel. If somebody's beating you with plus buttons, your only way to hard beat that is to reversal. I think you want to be a little bit more cognizant of, and this is hard, by the way. This is very hard. Like, this is something I'm also working on. But you want to be cognizant of what the other person is going for a lot, right? So me, like in my thought process, right, I'm going for this a lot because I know that a lot of players will either like try to backdash or block, and a lot of players who are very solid don't want to reversal a lot, right? Because it's super risky, you know?
Yeah.
But this button almost forces you to consider reversal. So my kind of plan is like, do this to force people to start thinking about reversal, and then if they start reversaling, I want to shimmy them and blow them up for it, right?
Got it.
It's also tough because it adds another layer, right? So when I hit you with this button on block or on hit, I'm plus. So I get to continue my pressure, and I know an exact plan of what I am going to do if you block this. I know the exact mix-up plan afterwards, but a lot of people aren't thinking that far. So I would get you a lot with stuff like this.
Yep. And that's what, like, but I rather take that than if I do try and like mash and you do hit that, then my third of my life is
I agree.
Down the toilet.
I agree, and I think that's very smart, right? But somebody like me, I'm going to do it until you show me that you're going to counter it. I'm willing to do this until you counter. Your play is to go for the least risk. I think that your plan is very smart, but it only works on people who throw or shimmy only. If they're really good with on-block pressure, your plan is not going to work. So you have to have a plan for somebody who's like meeting you a lot and mixing you up afterwards, right? That's easier said than done. But I think you just need to be cognizant of one thing. And I just want to ask this question as an example. How do you feel about Ken Jinrai?
I have hated Ken since 1994.
What I will say is your plan works against everything unless somebody's really good with button pressure, right? Waiting loses to people who can do like buttons into true mix-ups, you know? So the only thing you need to add to your plan is when you fight a player, because your plan is amazing, but when you fight a player who's good at offensive buttons, meaty buttons into mix-ups, you have to be more cognizant of what people are going for and willing to take risk. Because if you play so low risk, I'm going to exploit that, until you decide to take some sort of risk. And you did actually. You were smart enough to actually do stuff like that, right? Like reversal. Like your reversals were great because you realized I was just doing this, so reversing is good. But you can't keep reversaling, It's like a little too risky.
Yeah.
So you have to do stuff like, because like I probably did this a lot. It loses to jab. It loses to mash.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so when I hit you with this +1, I'm spaced enough that I actually have to walk, like, don't mash real quick. I have to walk forward to throw. I have to micro walk. So basically, like, if I'm doing this and to throw a lot, you have to mash in this situation. There you go, yeah.
Oh,
and then you can,
and then from a counter hit.
Yeah, you can light confirm into something. You might be able to get a medium, actually. Let's try it.
Oh, you think so? Oh, yeah.
You have to mix that in if I'm just doing medium to throw. Then I'll have to, if I notice you're mashing, I have to do stuff like this. The thing is, this game is like pretty crazy, right? Like, I think that your plan is a really good population strat. It works against the general population, right? Like if we look at a normal distribution of players, your plan works flawlessly against like 80% of players, right? But I think that I am a player who's skilled enough to realize when somebody's playing risk reward, and I will exploit that, So like when you're fighting a player who understands risk reward and can notice when somebody's playing risk reward, you have to play a little anti-risk reward sometimes
to make
them think. Because if you always play risk reward, the guy who understands it will just pick the correct thing that counters your risk reward play every time. So yeah, I think that just in regards to defense, knowing when to take a smart risk and realizing when the other person is exploiting your risk reward. That's what I'll play. If people go for media offensive suppression and mix, need to take risks to escape at some point. Mash sometimes to stop walk up there after plus frames. Make anti-risk reward plays. If opponent is exploiting. This is kind of the general idea I'll give because this kind of encapsulates everything I want to talk about. Like, you have a lot of good systems in place, I will say, to beat general players. To beat even better players than like 1500, 1600, 1700, you need like higher awareness and like a little bit less like flowchart game plan. You know what I mean? That general idea also applies to the defensive thing we were talking about how like your check is really smart. Your check is like, I'm gonna wait and play passive on defense and then get out. But the other thing I wanted to talk about is in neutral. Your neutral was good. It was very good. But I will say, I think your meter management was not perfect. It's very hard for me to get on Guile. Like, I don't have a lot of tools. Like, I can't really use Demon Flip because your Flash Kick beats all my Demon Flip options. I can't use Air Fireball because your Flash Kick beats all my Air Fireball options.
Oh, sorry. Is that true?
Yeah. If I ever Air Fireball and you're down backing, you can just Flash Kick through it.
Whoa! Oh, so it goes through the actual fireball.
Yeah, like you see how crazy this is. Like, it'll never. Nobody should ever Air Fireball you as Guile. Like, if you're ready to Flash, you have to take it if they like catch you walking forward. But as long as you're charging, they should never be able to do this. I think your neutral's really good, but you tend to spend a lot of drive. Your Flash Kick beats all my aerial approach options, so you can kind of shut down the air totally with Flash Kick. So then I have to get in on the ground. So you don't really have to worry about the air if your Flash Kicks are clean. In the ground game, it's kind of on me to get to you. Yeah, you can like keep zoning me, but I think that like sometimes you like to overspend on EX. That's good if they're fireballing a lot. Like if I'm fireballing a lot like this, throw EXs by all means because you'll just like hit me like that. I'm not telling you to never spend drive, but you want to make sure that your drive is more than his. Because my kind of plan against you was to let you be really patient, let you kind of get your meter low, right? And then when you're low on meter and my meter is high, I would drag you to the corner because if you think about it, right? If you burn EX in neutral and you're 2 bars down, I know you're probably not going to EX yourself down to 2 bars, right? Or you're also... If your drive is low, I can do stuff like this and catch your boom. So your zoning game is weaker now. And then if it hits you, I get Oki, so I get to dash up on you. And now your meter is already low because you've wasted some meter on EX. So you're probably not going to reversal. So I can like push my offense a lot. Like if you're like close to 2 bars and I get some random knockdown with this, and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like go for mix. If you reversal me, I'm like, I don't care. He's like almost burned out now. So I can just like, I can do this a couple times and then like drive rush, do this, burn you out, and then stun you. You want to make sure your drive is healthier than mine. Like, your goal is to keep me out and win the drive war, and then, like, if you get, like, a win in neutral, just keep pushing, right? Keeping the drive healthy is going to be really important for Guile. The main idea is going to be patience, actually. So, patience with drive, winning drive meter battle. What I mean by that is, like, against players who are more impatient and they're like throwing fireballs and jumping, it's good to spend meter like this randomly. But against good players, they will play patient, so in turn you need to play a little bit patient, right? Spend drive when you have a read. This is just kind of to encapsulate the whole idea of like drive management, right? I'm sure you've played people where you'll burn EX and you don't care, right? It doesn't really affect the game that much, right? But against a player like me, right? When you throw that, I love that. Like, that is everything to me. If I get you to throw EX and I just block it,
I've wasted part of my meter.
Yeah. It doesn't seem that big, right? It's I'm not hitting you or anything, right? It's not like the end of the world or anything, right? But it means a lot to me. I just won like big right there. I consider that a big win. Drive bar is more important than health in this game. I'm not kidding. If I'm like 1 HP and you're like max HP but you're burnt out, I feel like I have a very high chance to win. That occurs in smaller ways, like I said. Like, you spend EX, you reversal with low drive. I don't really care. It's fine if I lose some life and you lose 2 bars of drive and you're still in the corner. Because if you reversal me here, you're still in the corner. I have all the stage. You have no drive.
And I spent resource to do so.
Spent resource, yeah. Take the small wins with drive. So that's kind of the quote I want to put, I guess. Take the small wins with drive. If you get me to spend
I like that idea a lot.
And you don't, and you just block it, be happy about that.
Yeah.
And then know that I'm probably not going to EX again. Nobody just EXs twice and puts themselves in 2 bars. That's like troll.
Yeah.
You know? Once I know I get you to block EX, I get another small win, right? Because I know you're not going to EX. I'll maybe fireball you back. Look at the drive I get to hit to you with, because now that you're going to EX and you're not going to EX again, you know? I'm not worried about your EX going through my fireball, so I can do more drive to you. And then I'll maybe even sometimes walk up and do this. So, like, this is what happens. You EX, I block it. You're down 2 bars. I walk up, heavy punch fireball. You're down to 3 bars.
That's half my drive gauge gone.
Exactly. That's such a big game changer that people don't think about. Like, I think a lot of players who are kind of stuck, they'll just use their drive. They're like, oh, wait, it's not that big of a deal. It's a huge deal. Yeah. My drive is huge, dude. You're not going to do something crazy anymore, and I can walk up and pressure you, and now you're down bars, and then let's say I randomly get a hit, and you're on Oki. You can't reversal now. Oh, you reversal, you're 1 bar, and then I just stun you and kill you.
And now
you know? The small wins of drive are very important in this game.
That's a wonderful thing to think about. Like, just that'll change up my entire...
Yeah, drive wins. I wrote it as, think about the small drive wins snowball. Very. Nice reversal.
Oops. It's supposed to be a spacing trap, but went wrong.
Down. Wait. 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 Wait.
Oops.
Nice back jump.
Oops. That was not worth the risk.
GG's.